Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Today, I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined by my elite panel, Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, the Phenom, Michael Bullock, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. A very special edition of Ridiculously Raw here this evening. Of course, we're still going to do the Monday Night Raw review as we always do. But if you weren't with us at the end of our recap show last night, MF made the announcement that in addition to this, we're going to do something very special and different. No Tony's Take, but instead, myself, MF, and Michael Bullock, we are going to do a quick preview of the upcoming NBA season, which starts tomorrow night. So we'll get into that. But for right now, it is Monday Night Raw, the second to last Monday Night Raw of 2020. From the brand new Thunderdome, Tropicana Field, St. Petersburg, Florida, the home of your American League champion Tampa Bay Rays. And I'll tell you, it was another so-so show. What else is new? But some newsworthy things that came out of this. A lot of interesting things that came out of this. But of course, we started it off with an in-ring segment, like we always do, but not who you thought. It ended up being the Queen, Charlotte Flair, one half of your brand new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. She brings out her partner, Asuka, and they talk. They had their little bragging rights moment from last night, and then they get interrupted by the former champions, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. And then another interruption from Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And, well, the opening segment, not really much to speak of there. It was clunky and poorly written. But what happened was we ended up getting, on top of this, a tag team matchup. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler against Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And when all was said and done, the winners of the match in 12 minutes and 50 seconds, it was Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. So Jax and Baszler get the win back from last night. I'll sum it up like this. When it comes to the segment, the opening promos were clunky and poorly written, especially when it came to the weak insults delivered by Brooke and Rose. But the match that followed wasn't bad, and it actually exceeded expectations. But it still should not have taken up the first three segments of the show. Rose and Brooke look better than they have in other recent bouts, but still have some work to do when it comes to building chemistry and coming up with some good double team spots. This kind of would have been better in the middle of the show. That's my small little nitpick. I mean, after such a strong pay-per-view last night, WWE should have opened with somebody like Drew McIntyre or Randy Orton to capitalize on the attention their respective matches received. But, it is what it is. But for me, this is one of the top fights of the night. I got to say this was about 3 to 3.25 stars. So not much more to say on that. And it was also, before I give it to MF, it was also announced that as part of what is now going to be a very loaded Christmas edition of Friday Night SmackDown this Friday night, it was announced that Charlotte Flair and Asuka will defend their newly won WWE Women's Tag Team Championship this Friday night on Friday Night SmackDown. MF, what do you make of that, Mr. SmackDown? How do you like that?
Well, that's definitely a great moment for us. For Charlotte and Asuka to be putting their titles on the line representing the Blue Brand. So yeah, I'm very optimistic about it. We'll wait and see how it plays out, but I will say this is going to be a very interesting situation. As far as tonight goes, yes, I agree, it's a 3-star match. Like you said, the promo segment had nothing to write home about. The match itself was not bad. It was pretty good. Could have been a lot better, but at the end of the day, it was it was solid for what it was worth. So I really got nothing bad to say. Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, yeah. To me, it was a 3-star match as well. I mean, the segment was really nothing to write home about, but yeah, this match was far better than what I expected. I mean, yeah, I definitely could have expected much better when it comes to this match, but it was good for what it was and the amount of time it did get. So there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
Yeah, I can agree pretty much, guys. So I'm not going to add anything else. So it's yours, Florio.
All right. Unfortunately, what this show is known for, and that's cutouts, and we had a few of them. We had the VIP Lounge MVP, the Hurt Business, the United States Heavyweight Champion Bobby Lashley, the new Raw Tag Team Champions Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, and nothing really to write home about there either. They were interrupted by Jeff Hardy and Riddle. We'll get into that later on because it led into a match. Then we had Angel Garza. It's been a while since Angel Garza's been around. He went up against Drew Gulak in a battle of former cruiserweight champions. And unfortunately, this ended up not being as good as I thought it would be because, two former cruiserweight champions. I thought this would be something decent, but I was wrong. Garza beats Gulak in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Nothing much to say there. Then we had Miz TV, Miz and John Morrison. The guest was AJ Styles, and these guys just went off on each other. And what Miz, you saw the intensity and the fire of Miz. It was almost like when he was on the Talking Smack. You remember those couple of times he got in Daniel Bryan's face? It was kind of like that. What we saw tonight, but then Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, and Keith Lee showed up, and then they did a nightmare after TLC. So that's really all there is to say on that. We're not gonna, that wasn't much to speak about there. Ricochet,
Florio, you forgot to bring up something that the Miz said during the segment.
Oh, that's right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
No, I thought you.
That's right. The money. Oh yeah, the stuff with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Yes.
Yep.
Because remember, John Morrison technically gave the briefcase to the official, and Miz was saying, "Oh, since I'm the one who held it, only I cash it in. John Morrison cashed it in for me." So I don't know. That's we'll have to wait and see if it turns into something. I mean,
that would be a valid argument for the Miz to say that. I mean, that would be a valid argument for the Miz. I mean, normally if you're the Money in the Bank holder, normally the holder himself has to cash it in. So I mean, that would be a good argument for the Miz to say that I never officially did cash in, but the problem in there is that was kind of technically a cash in. The bell did ring, and he did go for the belt. So that's a gray area. That I don't know. That I get where the Miz is coming from, but I don't think that loophole might hold, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think WWE management's going to let the Miz take advantage of that loophole.
I don't know. That's a tough sell. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think it's crossing on something. I don't think you want to. What's the right way to say it?
It's a fine line.
Mm-hmm.
You basically said it for me. It's a fine line that the Miz is walking on.
Didi, you have a rebuttal?
Hey, I don't think the Miz should get it back because, like y'all said, he went and battled for it. Even if he wasn't the one who actually handed the referee, he was behind Morrison on this, on the cash in. He was all in on the cash in, so therefore he cashed in. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no I'm going to get the title back. There's no I'm going to call USA. I'm going to call corporate. I'm going to call Vince himself and say, hey, look, I didn't cash in the title because he fought for the belt. And when you fight for the belt, you automatically have pretty much cashed it in. So no, he shouldn't get it back at all.
Oh, God forbid what's going to happen if he does. That's all I can say. So I don't even want to think about that because all three of you are going to be, as MF would say, going to be coming out with the tiki torches and the pitchforks and spitting kittens. So, yeah.
No, we'll be going out behind the barn with some C4 and blowing everybody up.
Alrighty.
She went military on us. She talking about C4? Dang, Dee. Whoa.
That was how you really
Mythbusters.
feel.
Mythbusters.
Mythbusters.
Okay.
I know that show really well.
Okay.
Well, there's one thing that I think all three of us learned: never cross the path of Dee Dee Woodson.
No, not at all.
I've learned from, and I certainly ain't going there again.
Yep, we've all been there. So let's get back to the business at hand here. We had Ricochet in another Retribution match. What else is new? The repetitive nature of Monday Night Raw. He went up against T-Bar. T-Bar won the match 2 minutes and 45 seconds. This just won't end. On the heels of the lowest rated Raw show in history, you would think the company would take stock and do away with at least tweak the acts that are universally panned. Instead, it's just business as usual. Not much more to say. But we will get into this, though. United States Heavyweight Champion Bobby Lashley and MVP squaring off against the newly dubbed Hardy Bros, Jeff Hardy and Riddle. It was the Hurt Business. Bobby Lashley and MVP, they win the match, 11 minutes and 35 seconds. Bobby Lashley with the Hurt Lock on Jeff Hardy. All right, MF, finally something relevant to get into here.
What was it?
The tag team match, Lashley and MVP against Jeff Hardy and Riddle. Lashley and MVP win in 11 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, 3-star match. Good for what it was worth. Enjoyable. I liked it, and I don't think there's really nothing more to add here, guys. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you. I thought it was a solid 3.
Yeah, I think it's a solid 3 as well. I I enjoyed it for the time it did get, and the momentum of the Hurt Business continues. After Benjamin and Alexander won the titles, and now Lashley and MVP get the win tonight. So, as we say, business is booming with the Hurt Business. So, Dee Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, I agree. Business is booming for them, and yeah, I mean, the match looked okay. They did a good job, all 4 guys, but it wasn't it wasn't great. It was good. So I pretty much agree with everything y'all have said so far. So it's yours, Florio.
And we have a final from Monday Night Football. The Pittsburgh Steelers' demise continues. They just lost to the Bungles, guys. Oh, my goodness. 27-17. The Cincinnati Bengals have just handed the Pittsburgh Steelers their 3rd straight loss. And on top of that, the Buffalo Bills are now the number 2 seed in the AFC. Let's go.
Well, not only that, but Kansas City has clinched the top seed. All roads now goes through Kansas City in the AFC. They now get the 1st round bye. Kansas City gets the bye. Buffalo goes to 2. So yeah, if they win out, they actually do get the number 2 seed, and not only that, but now Cleveland has a shot to win the North. They're 1 game out.
That's right.
So all of a sudden, this just got very interesting in the AFC. Like this is monumental what just happened.
Pittsburgh is walking on thin ice right now, and if this losing streak continues,
They're gonna be
Oh,
one and done.
Dude,
They'll be one and done.
this is going to get even worse because now they got to play Indy next week,
Yep.
and then Cleveland, which possibly now could be for the division title.
That would be our game in week 17.
Oh my god!
I'll say this right now: if that is the case, this needs to be Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh and Cleveland for that North Division title.
I would probably say NBC is looking at that game very intently right about now, and I think they probably would pull the trigger, and that probably would be the game. I think they're looking at that game very carefully right about now and thinking
Agreed.
this could be for the division.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
So these
all of a
next
sudden,
This week and next week are going to be very important.
oh yeah.
And Cleveland, and Pittsburgh's got the Jets coming up. That's one thing. But Cleveland, they got the Jets.
Yeah.
Yikes.
So think about that for a minute.
But remember,
The Jets beat the Rams.
the bet beats the Rams last week or yesterday. Do not underestimate the Jets.
Especially
the Jets
at
pulled
MetLife.
one of the biggest upsets in the NFL year, and every team who had the Rams as your eliminator,
Gone. You're gone. See ya.
Yep.
See ya. Bye. So.
See ya.
Yep.
See ya.
But there's no question about it. Very exciting stuff. Myself, MF, and Bullock will get into that on Wednesday night. I'll explain at the end. But for right now, let's get back to the business at hand. We had the. Did everybody have a turn in that tag team match that we just talked about? Lashley and MVP against Hardy and Riddle. I know MF started it. Did Bullock? Did you go?
I went, and I think D.D. Woodson went.
Okay, so I guess we're all good here, so we can move on. All right, that we will do. Another cutout here. Jackson Riker. Well, actually, no, I don't think I gave my thoughts on it. But as far as the tag match goes, what did I have? The VIP lounge segment allowed Alexander to shine on the mic with his new attitude, but as soon as Riddle got involved, it was a lot less entertaining. But Riddle and Hardy worked well together during the match, but their promo styles don't mesh at all. WWE is trying to make Riddle popular by pairing him up with somebody the crowd loves, but that won't work if they have no chemistry. Lashley and MVP getting the win was the right call. The match was good, but the segment earlier in the night had its ups and downs, so we'll just take it from there. Then we had Jackson Riker squaring off against Grand Metalik. Jackson Riker won the match in 55 seconds. So, so they're out of here. All right, now we're going to get into something really fun here. Randy Orton comes out and cuts a promo, another scathing heel promo like he's done all year long. I mean, another great vintage heel promo. But then he gets interrupted. He thought he was going to be getting interrupted by The Fiend. No, it was Alexa Bliss. And oh my goodness. Just when I thought I could not love Alexa Bliss any more than I already have. She shows up swinging on a swing set. Oh. And Bullock, I was gushing over this during our Raw chat. I was literally gushing over this. But nonetheless, though, Randy Orton and Alexa getting interrupted by Alexa Bliss, and I mean Michael Bullock. I mean, during our Raw chat, I was gushing over Alexa and what she did, but all kidding aside, hands down, this was the segment of the night right here.
Oh yeah, this was the segment of the night, hands down. I mean, Randy Orton. I mean, what can you say? I mean, another scathing promo, and how he explained he did what he did to the Fiend, and just when you thought that he was done, well, he thought he was going to get confronted by the Fiend, but he gets confronted by Alexa Bliss, and yeah, she really was very good on this, basically saying it's her backyard now, and yeah, I don't know where this is going from now after what happened. So yeah, I mean, great work by both individuals here. So Dee Woodson, it's yours, and yeah, Alexa Bliss. I guess we could say she's definitely not out there.
Well, she's got the contacts in now, just like the Fiend. If you noticed, when she came off the swing set and got into Orton's face, she had the contacts in that she's been wearing when she goes into that, I guess you could say, fiendish mode. I love the Alexa Playground. I mean, that came out really, really good. The promo was awesome. It definitely was the promo of the night, and seeing her face off against Orton, showing that she has no fear in Orton at all. She has no fear in anything, because she knows that Bray's going to protect her in whatever persona he's going to be, and it looks like we're getting a rebirth of the Fiend, because if you've seen his Bray's tweets, I mean, one of them was a caterpillar and one was a cocoon, so he's evolving, and we'll just kind of have to wait and see if by the first of the year we find out what the new persona for the Fiend's going to be. But yeah, this was definitely an awesome promo. This is one of the I think one of the best that Bliss has pulled off. Coming off of this new persona that she started here. So yeah, I'm not going to add anything more. It's yours, Florio.
Oh man, yeah. Bringing back Wyatt the night after Orton set him on fire would have been a mistake. He needs to stay away for a little while, and this segment set up his hiatus perfectly. Bliss is so great in this role, and the Viper has always been amazing at playing the heel who doesn't care about who he hurts to get what he wants. The only downside to all of this is Bliss might be off of TV while the Fiend is gone. It would be great if she stuck around and competed in her own matches while we wait for his return. But other than that, fantastic segment. There's nothing more to say. MF, you're the Orton mark. We all know that. I mean, well documented. What did you think about all this? I mean, Orton cuts that sinister promo, and then Alexa stands up and wow.
Yeah, this is getting interesting. This is very interesting. This is a lot of good things going on. It is very, like we said, it's gotten very interesting. So we'll wait and see how this plays out. But Orton was amazing. Alexa was amazing. And like you said, not to have the Fiend there was the right thing to do. You got to let this marinate for a little bit. And I think it will. So this has gotten very interesting. We'll see how it plays out over time. But right now, my goodness. Wow. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, indeed. So then we had ourselves another women's tag team matchup. We had the women's tag team champions, Charlotte Flair and Asuka. they squared off against Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce, non-title match. Winners of the match, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Charlotte Flair and Asuka, they win the match. Do you guys want to get into this, or do you want to move on? It's perfectly okay with me. I just want to
Move on.
Yeah, I kind of had a feeling.
Yeah, move on, Florio.
Yeah.
Move on.
All right. But I will, give it a small thought. This match was just another reminder that breaking up the Iconics was short-sighted and dumb. Peyton Royce and Billie Kay worked so well together because their friendship was real. Now neither of them have a clear direction. This is one of those rare matches where nobody benefited at all. Royce and Evans never should have been a team to begin with, and Asuka and Charlotte gained nothing by defeating two women who don't work well together. Some of the action was good, so this wasn't a total wash, but it wouldn't be hard to think of several segments that would have done better in this slot. But I would give it probably 1.5 to 2 for the effort. So that there's really not much more to say on this. All right. I said there was some big news coming up, and I do have some big news that I want to share before we get into the main event, because a lot went down. First things first. Christmas night on SmackDown. MF, Merry Christmas to you, man, because you've got a loaded show. Because you're going to have not one, not two, but 3 championship matches. You already know about the women's tag team titles with Charlotte and Asuka. Sami Zayn, lame duck man, he will defend the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship against Big E. And on top of that, he's not going to get any bigger than those two. How about the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, defending the Universal Championship against Kevin Owens in, as what Hulk Hogan used to say, a steel temper cage. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, Merry Christmas, MF. You just might have the SmackDown of the year on Christmas night, man. That's all I can say. So you better enjoy that. And on top of that, 2 weeks from tonight, the first Raw of 2021, it's going to be Legends Night. Whoa. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Kurt Angle, The Big Show, Beth Phoenix, Tori Wilson, and so many others like Sergeant Slaughter, Jimmy Hart, Tatanka even, Mickey James, Michael P.S. Hayes, Mark Henry. Man, that is going to be such a great show. I cannot wait for that in 2 weeks. That's mark out stuff right there. So very big announcements, to say the very least, and we can't wait for all that to go down. Main event time, 6-man tag team holiday street fight. WWE champion Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, and Sheamus squaring off against The Miz, John Morrison, and AJ Styles. When all was said and done, the winners of the match in 17 minutes and 55 seconds, it was the babyface team, Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, and Sheamus. Keith Lee with a spirit bomb, picking up the win for his team on The Miz. I believe Didi Woodson leads off on this. So, Didi, I think we found our fight of the night here, 17:55.
Definitely fight of the night. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I mean, this was awesome. They did a great job. Both teams looked like they were going to implode. And in fact, I think we did see a minor one in the middle of the match with Keith Lee and Sheamus. But, Drew got it back on track until the match was over when Sheamus decided to bro kick, or whatever he calls it now. But I think it's a bro kick. To Keith Lee, and then there's just kind of started it all over again. Got Drew upset, because he had vouched for Sheamus with Keith Lee. Keith saying he was cool and everything, and then all of a sudden he's doing this. So yeah, I mean, like I said, both teams seemed like they were going to implode, and in fact, we even got to see AJ's tall confidant there even throw Morrison through a table. So I guess you could say that was his little payback from last night at the pay-per-views. He actually got his hands on Morrison and finally got to pay him back for the chair shot. So yeah, this was awesome. I enjoyed this. Definitely the match of the night. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, I agree with Didi's sentiments here. 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, this was a good match, but it went on longer than necessary. They waited too long to use any kind of weapons, and when they did use them, it was sparingly. The building tension between Sheamus and Keith Lee will likely continue to build up, leading to a fun spot, perhaps, during the Royal Rumble, especially if one of them wins. McIntyre is continuing to grow as a top star and look more confident than he did during his first title reign. This was a decent ending to what ended up being a hot and cold episode of Monday Night Raw. And one other nitpick I have on this. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but street fight rules, right? That means anything goes, right? Am I right on that? But
Yeah. No disqualifications, no countouts.
why in the world were they tagging in and out? Why? Stupid.
Because it wasn't under tornado type rules. This was a traditional 6-man tag team fight. This wasn't tornado tag. If you really want me to go, I mean, unless you're doing lucha libre rules where you don't have to tag in and out, then I get that. But
I was just confused. That's all.
Yeah.
But that's all I was wondering. I mean, that's the only nitpick I have about the match. But other than that, it was a fun match, and you had a feeling it would be the fight of the night, considering the talent involved and the stipulation. Even though it could have been a lot better, but it was still fine. It was still good for what it was. So, but that's all I can say. 3.5, maybe 3 3/4. That's the best I can go. So, not much more to say. All right, nitpick over. All right, MF, it's yours.
3.5. I'll give you that. It was a good match. Everything looked really good, to say the very least. And I really got nothing else to add. So, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I agree. This was a 3.5 star match and definitely the fight of the night. So there's really nothing more to add. Let's get into our overall thoughts on the show.
All right, and like I said, Raw remains a creative disaster heading into its final show of 2020 next Monday. I mean, we did have some moments. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we had some moments. A lot of newsworthy things came out of it. Few newsworthy things. Well, that was more about future programming more than stuff on the show. I mean, we had some good matches here and there, but at the end of the day, about 2 or 3 good matches. You had that one great segment with Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss. I mean, all in all, I could probably give this at best, considering we had at least 2, maybe we had 3 good matches, 1 good segment. The rest was in between. I would probably give this a 5.5 to 6, if I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said, Raw remains a creative disaster, and I mean, even though there were some good moments, it was just kind of boring, to be honest with you, and that's a shame coming off of what ended up being a fantastic pay-per-view last night. Maybe the pay-per-view of 2020, in all honesty. But at the end, another so-so edition of Monday Night Raw. And like I said, 2 weeks from tonight cannot get here fast enough with all those legends coming in. So I can't wait to see it. So 5.5 to 6 for me. That's really all I can say. So I don't know. So not much more to say. MF, I mean, I think this sets the table for what's going to end up being a very loaded and exciting Christmas SmackDown, if you heard what I just mentioned about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, the way I'm thinking you're absolutely right. I think it's gonna be 5 out of 6, and there's really nothing more to add. So, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, 5 for me. I mean, this was sort of. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's really nothing more to say. I'm just gonna give it to Dee Dee Woodson.
Yeah, I can agree with about a 5. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't the best, but did have a little bit of storyline building and definitely a lot of building for SmackDown for Friday. So not much more I'm going to add. See you guys Friday. Good night.
Well, it's going to be next week, Didi, because Friday is
Okay.
Christmas.
See you next week then.
All right. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Right back here for Ridiculously Raw.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Dee Dee.
Yes, indeed.
Merry Christmas, guys, and Happy New Year and all that good jazz. I'm going to bed.
Yeah. Yes. Take care.
I've been
Didi.
I've been up since 6 a.m. I'm pretty tired.
I would imagine so. So, Merry Christmas, blessings, and everything to you and Kevin and the family, and we'll see you next week. So,
Same to you.
all right. So with all that, normally at this time I would be getting ready for my Tony's take, but in this case, we're not going to be doing that. We're going to be doing something very special this time around. Tomorrow night marks the start of the 2020-2021 NBA season. Shortest off season in NBA history, only about 2.5 months or so. As you remember, it was Columbus Day weekend, October the 11th, when the Los Angeles Lakers put away the Miami Heat to capture their 17th NBA championship to tie them with the Boston Celtics for the most all time. And you'll see them raise the banner into the rafters of the Staples Center when they host the Los Angeles Clippers in the second half of an opening night doubleheader. The first half will feature the Golden State Warriors squaring off against the Brooklyn Nets at the Barclays, so on TNT. So with all that being said, let's get into it, folks. Our NBA preview, and we had never really done one of these before that I recall. But what we're gonna do it just like we would any other sport. You know, we'll run down the division, you know, who we think will win and all that stuff. So we'll start with the Eastern Conference, and we'll start with the Atlantic Division. And what I will do is I'll give you, my sentiments here. Well, what we'll do is we'll run down who we think will win the division, and we'll also run down any other representatives for postseason. So with that being said, you know the teams in no particular order. From the Atlantic Division, you have the Boston Celtics, the Brooklyn Nets, the Toronto Raptors, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the New York Knicks. I have every team making it to the playoffs with the exception of the Knicks. I have the Boston Celtics winning the division. The Celtics have all the potential to be a legitimate title contender, led by their dynamic duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Boston has the right combination of scoring ability and versatile defense to go all the way. Kemba Walker will have to perform better than he did last postseason, but it may not matter if Brown and especially Tatum take the kind of steps forward most expect them to. Barring injury to a key player, of course, we already kind of saw the worst-case scenario for the Celtics play out in their Eastern Conference Finals matchup with the Miami Heat. Walker's game fell flat against Miami, and Boston suffered. Boston cannot afford to let that happen again. I have the Boston Celtics winning the Atlantic Division. I got the Brooklyn Nets finishing second, and I got them making the playoffs. I got the Toronto Raptors finishing third. I have them making the playoffs as well. Philadelphia 76ers will be fourth. I've got them barely making the playoffs, and I got the New York Knicks in dead last, nowhere near playoff contention. Sorry. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So MF, Atlantic Division, who do you like?
I like the Boston Celtics as well. I got Toronto in second, Brooklyn in third, Philly in fourth, and the Knicks in fifth. And I do agree. Boston, Toronto, Brooklyn, and Philly all to make the playoffs. That's 4 out of the 5. So go ahead, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I got the Boston Celtics winning the Atlantic Division, and then I got the Toronto Raptors finishing second, the Brooklyn Nets finishing in third, and the Philadelphia 76ers finishing in fourth, and the next dead last. Those four I mentioned will make the playoffs, except the Knicks. So there's nothing more to say. Let's move on, Florio.
And we move on to the Central Division. And the Central Division, in no particular order, you have the Chicago Bulls, you have the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Detroit Pistons, the Indiana Pacers, and the Milwaukee Bucks. So, okay, MFG, I wonder who's coming out of this division.
Obviously, you got to go with the Milwaukee Bucks. You got to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo and them boys. I got them coming out, and they will win the division. I got the Indiana Pacers in second place, and they also get one of the playoff spots. Third will be the Chicago Bulls, but they will not make the playoffs. The Detroit Pistons will come in fourth. They will not make the playoffs. And the Cleveland Cavaliers will be bringing up the rear in dead last. And obviously, they will not make it. So, Milwaukee first, Indiana second. Both those teams will be playoff teams. Chicago third, Detroit 4, Cleveland 5, but they will not make it. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm with Fletch on this one. I got the Milwaukee Bucks finishing in first place and winning their division. I mean, no doubt about it, especially with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then I got the Pacers finishing in second place and getting the other spot. And I agree with Fletch on everything else that he just brought up. So there's really nothing more to say. Florio, it is yours.
Believe it or not, I actually agree. That's exactly how I have it on my list. Milwaukee Bucks. With Giannis Antetokounmpo's extension taken care of, all eyes are on a championship. The team traded away 3 future first-rounders to acquire Jrue Holiday, who they're hoping will give Milwaukee more of a punch on both ends of the floor, particularly in the playoffs, and finally allow the 2-time defending MVP to bring Milwaukee to the promised land for the first time since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it in 1971. We're talking 50 years, guys. Falling short of the Eastern Conference Finals for a second year would be bad, but let's be honest. The real worst-case scenario has already been avoided. What happens this season and afterwards won't make or break the franchise. Giannis is re-signed through at least 2024, 25, and the sky has not fallen in Milwaukee. I got Milwaukee winning the division. I have the Indiana Pacers finishing second and making the playoffs. Chicago Bulls finishing third, no postseason for them. Detroit Pistons fourth, no postseason for them. And the Cleveland Cavaliers last and obviously not in the postseason contention either. So that's really all we can say on that. So our final Eastern Conference division, and it is the Southeast Division. And the Southeast Division features in no particular order the Miami Heat, the Washington Wizards, the Atlanta Hawks, the Orlando Magic, and the Charlotte Hornets. So, Michael Bullock, who do you like in the Southeast Division?
After what we saw from them in the postseason, I got the Miami Heat winning the division. I mean, after everything we saw, what they did in that run to the finals, it's hard not to go against them. So, and they're another team that you got to keep an eye on in that Eastern Conference. Because, I mean, after what they did, so I got them winning the that's my team winning the division. So there's really nothing more for me to say. Florio, it is yours. How can you not go against the Miami Heat?
Amen to that. How can you? I'm right there with you, Bullock. Total agreement. I got the Miami Heat winning the Southeast Division, coming off a somewhat surprising run to the finals that saw them fall in 6 games to the Los Angeles Lakers. A best-case scenario for the Miami Heat will be to get back to the championship round and finish the job. With that said, and as talented as they may be with that core of Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and the emergence of Duncan Robinson and MF's boy, Tyler Hero, when you look around at the competition in the East, you have to wonder how feasible another run to the finals might be for Miami. So a more realistic high watermark for this squad this season would probably be a conference finals appearance. I'm going out on a limb here and say, barring devastating injury to someone like Butler or Adebayo, the Heat are assured of making the playoffs. Outside of falling short of their own likely championship expectations, the Heat need to realize that this is a team with a lot of young talent that will grow over time. And no matter how tempting it might be to trade for a player like James Harden, who could help put them over the top, to do so at the expense of any of the young studs would be a mistake. But I have the Miami Heat winning the division, obviously making the playoffs. I got the Washington Wizards finishing second and barely making the playoffs. Atlanta Hawks third, and just missing out on the playoffs. Orlando Magic fourth, no playoffs for them. And in last, it'll be the Charlotte Hornets, no postseason, obviously. So that's my take on the Southeast Division. MF, what says you?
You know what? You're absolutely right, Anthony. Miami should win the division, and that should be pretty handily. Atlanta would come in second, and that would get them in, and that would be your 8 there. Third would be Orlando. 4, I'm going to give to Washington. And then 5th will be Charlotte. So, time to go to the West.
Yep, and we go to the Western Conference, and we're going to start it off with the Northwest Division. Northwest Division is where we'll pick things up with the Western Conference here. Just trying to find my notes here. Okay. In the Northwest Division, in no particular order, you have the Denver Nuggets, the Utah Jazz, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I'll take it for a spin first. I have the Denver Nuggets winning this division. Dare we say a better finish than last year when they went to 6 games against the eventual champion Lakers. Jeremy Grant and Mason Plumlee are gone, but otherwise this team is basically running it back, only with the expectation of greater output from Michael Porter Jr., who despite all the time missed to injury and the amount of NBA seasoning he's gotten to this point, is actually 3 months younger than Knicks rookie Obi Toppin. But we're also burying the lead. Their dynamic duo of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray proved in the bubble they are talented and versatile enough that they can play with anybody. This is a team with a bright future and a bright present. Even while acknowledging how tough the West is, it would still be a shock if this team wound up any lower than the 6th seed. They are well coached and well balanced with a mix of young players and vets. Barring injury, a caveat universal to every one of these previews, they will compete. I got the Denver Nuggets winning this division, obviously making the playoffs. Utah Jazz finishing second and making the playoffs. Portland Trail Blazers in third, also making the playoffs. And it stops there. Minnesota Timberwolves will be fourth, no postseason. And in last, the Oklahoma City Thunder in last, no playoffs for them. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So MF, Northwest Division, who do you like?
You know what? This is a little more tougher, but I will say this. I'm going to say Denver wins the division, and I agree. Utah should go 2. Portland will go 3, and both teams will make the postseason. Minnesota will miss out, and OKC should miss out. So really nothing more to add. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you guys on this one. I got Denver winning this one, winning the division, and I'm with you guys on everything else that you guys brought up. So there's nothing more to say. Let's move on.
And we move on to the Southwest Division. Southwest Division, and let's run down the teams once again in no particular order. We have the Dallas Mavericks, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Houston Rockets, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the San Antonio Spurs. So,
I lead off.
MF, okay. So MF, Southwest Division. Who do you like?
Dallas. Dallas is going to win the division. And as a matter of fact, I'm actually going to shock people. Dallas will be the only representative to come out of the Southwest Division because I predict that the Pacific Division will get 4 out of 5 out of their division to make the playoffs. Which 4? You'll find out in just a little bit. Dallas will go first. Houston will go second. I got New Orleans to go third, San Antonio will go fourth, and Memphis will be fifth. Number one, Dallas is going to be wicked strong with Jokic and with Kristaps Porzingis back and better than ever. I think they're going to be the team that's going to win the division. 2, for Houston, I don't think James Harden's going to be there all year. That's why I think they're going to fall off. 3, for Memphis, I just don't think. I think Ja Morant is good. I don't think they're gonna. They just have anybody around them. Not enough pieces. That's why I think they'll come in dead last. 4 is San Antonio. I think they'll be fine, but the team just doesn't have that oomph right now. So I will hold off on that. 5th, with Zion Williamson, if he stays healthy, this team will be scary. This is a team that you don't want to face right now. Zion Williamson will not have a sophomore slump, and he's going to be absolutely devastating. But with so many good teams out of the Pacific, I just don't see any other team other than Dallas breaking through. Therefore, that's why I say that Dallas will win the division. They'll be the only team coming out of this division that's going to be in the playoffs. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with Fletch on this one. I got Dallas winning the division and the only team out of that division to make the playoffs. Everyone else is not going to make it. I mean, like you said, I think Houston will definitely finish second, but they're not going to make it because I just don't see James Harden lasting the entire season there. So I'm with Fletch on all that. So I'm just going to give it to Florio.
Yeah, there's we're definitely going to have some disagreements on this. I do agree with Dallas winning the division. Absolutely, I'm with you guys on that one, no question. But I got a couple more teams coming out of this division to make the playoffs. So I'll get into that in a minute. Dallas Mavericks, yeah. I could even see Luka Doncic in the MVP conversation. I really do.
I'll go one further, Anthony. Luka Doncic will be the most valuable player of the NBA in 2020, 2021. Bold prediction coming from me.
Agreed. I mean, we're there already. He posted averages of 28.8 points, 9.4 rebounds, and 8.8 assists last year, and was fourth in MVP voting, behind only, get this lineup, Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, and James Harden. And he's not even 22 yet. Of course, to get to a place where he's number one in voting, the Mavs will have to finish better than second in the Southwest, and he's got help on that front. Newcomers Josh Richardson and rookie Josh Green, who gets some premature Klay Thompson comparisons, should help with two-way guard play and make things a little easier on the Slovenian sensation. Kristaps Porzingis' knee surgery rehab delays his return to on-court activities even further than the current target date of New Year's Day, which leaves Doncic without a running mate for too long during a shortened season. In that case, they could get usurped in the Southwest by the other big up-and-coming team in the Southwest. We'll see. But for now, I do have Dallas winning the Southwest Division. I have the New Orleans Pelicans finishing second and barely making the playoffs. Same thing with the Houston Rockets. I got them barely making it as well. I got the Memphis Grizzlies finishing fourth. And believe it or not, I have the San Antonio Spurs finishing last. Never thought I'd hear myself say that after all the great years in the sun they had. So that's really all there is to say on that. Final division of the night. Only fitting, save the best for last. The division that houses the NBA champions. It is the Pacific Division. The Pacific Division, you know the teams in no particular order. Your reigning, defending NBA champion Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers, Phoenix Suns, Golden State Warriors, Sacramento Kings. Michael Bullock, who do you like?
Yeah, I got the Lakers winning that division. I mean, I still think they're They're really good, especially after coming off winning that NBA championship. So I just don't see how they can lose this one. So I got them winning the division here. So Florio, I mean, how else can you go against LeBron James and Anthony Davis and the Lakers?
How can you? Um, they're obviously the odds-on favorites to win it all, although Milwaukee will have something to say about that. But I do agree with Michael Bullock. I have your reigning champions doing it again. Um, Essentially, a replay of last season minus the pandemic. Good health and continued greatness from LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Just enough support from the rest of the rotation. Some favorable matchups in the playoffs, and yet another title for Los Angeles. There has been quite a bit of turnover around the margins, but on paper, this team is better and more versatile than it was last season. Twitter bans the use of the phrase Mickey Mouse title, which is as dumb as it's been ubiquitous among LeBron haters over the past few months. So long as the Stars stay relatively healthy, the Lakers are making the playoffs, but nothing beyond that is guaranteed. This team played its last game of the finals barely 2 months ago, and several players are likely still catching their breath. There's also the possibility, as Danny Green posted in October, that LeBron will sit out the start of the season. If that happens, this team could end up playing catch-up in a shortened season and miss out on home court. What's more, if the new pieces don't fit nearly as well as hoped, Marc Gasol continues the downward trajectory he was on last year for the Raptors, and the Clippers don't self-destruct, there's a possibility this team won't even see the Western Conference final, let alone compete for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. That's the worst-case scenario. But other than that, I do have the Lakers winning the division, making the playoffs, obviously. Right behind them, of course, is the Clippers. They'll be in the playoffs. And then the buck stops here. Phoenix Suns just miss. Golden State Warriors finishing fourth. And the Sacramento Kings finishing in last. So not much more to say. MF, take it home.
All right. This is where I disagreed with Anthony. One, the Lakers will win the division. They're going in. Clippers will be 2. They're going in. I got Phoenix in. Phoenix was, without a doubt, the hottest team when they came out of the bubble. When they restarted the NBA, the Phoenix Suns was the only team that went 8-0 in the bubble in Orlando. And for me, they still have a lot of their core players. I think they're going to be poised for a monster run this year. And not only that, I got them going in. And then fourth, I got the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs. They're going to get the 8th seed. They will sneak in because of the fact that, for one, you still got Steph Curry. You still got Draymond Green. You still got that elite power of the Golden State Warriors. Yes, Klay Thompson is not there, but let me tell you, Golden State is back, and do not sleep on the Warriors. And I think a lot of people are sleeping on them. You do not want to go back to Oakland and want to face this team. This is a team that is poised for a monster run. They're coming back for one thing and one thing only: to reclaim their throne as the best team in the West. And I do believe, even though this year won't be the year, but if Klay comes back and the core is together next year, look out for the Warriors. They will be dangerous. Who knows? They might make a run, at the trading deadline. 72 games. Anything can happen. I got them going in. So, Clippers, Lakers, Suns, and Warriors all make the playoffs. Sacramento will be the odd man out. They will not make it. They'll come in last. That's my prediction. Anthony, let's call it a night.
Yes, indeed. So hang on here, MF. We have some very special programming that we want to inform you folks about. Wednesday night, normally we would do Wednesday Night Mayhem. We would review AEW, Dynamite, and NXT. Not this time around. There will be NXT, yes. I mean, both shows are on, yes. NXT in their traditional time, but AEW Dynamite will be starting late. And who knows what time it'll start, because, you know, there will be an NBA game, obviously, big one. The Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's because of that that's being pushed back. And it's because of that we're not going to do Wednesday Night Mayhem. What we are going to do, we're going to do a special Wednesday edition, if you will, of NFL Saturday. Myself and MF, maybe Michael Bullock, if we can get him, that would be great. We will run down, we will preview all the games of Week 16, including a Christmas Day game between the Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints, and a triple header on Saturday, and so many other games. And we'll get into all that on Wednesday. Of course, you know, College Football Thursday is over. That season is done and over. No show on Thursday. Normally, we would have the Cerebral Smack Talk on Friday, but with that being Christmas, we're not having a show. Even though it's going to be a great show, we're not going to be doing that on Friday night. And then, obviously, no show on Saturday because of the NFL Saturday, and that's pretty much it. So just a special Wednesday edition of the NFL show on Wednesday, and that's it. You won't see us again until next Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, and then I believe our regular schedule will pick back up again. So we'll wait and see on that. But that is that. And MF, I have a correction. Kansas City has actually not clinched the number 1 seed. They still have to win.
They got to win. They got to win one of the next 2 games, and then they got it.
Because I just saw it on SportsCenter. If they beat Atlanta, then they have it. Then they will officially clinch the number 1 spot in the AFC. So I just wanted to correct you on that. So there you go. So until Wednesday night for our special Wednesday edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem, this is Anthony Florio here, signing off from my panel. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, Michael Bullock, the Phenom, the Twisted Angel, D.D. Woodson, and of course, always and forever, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, Lord of Fortune 4 style. But for now, my friends, God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for our special Wednesday edition of NFL Saturday, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, may they play us so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.